Something fundamental is changing across West Africa right now, and it deserves your attention. Guinea, a country most people could not point to on a map, just made a decision that has sent shockwaves through Paris, London, and Washington. The military government led by Colonel Mamadi Doumbouya has cancelled 46 mining licenses held by foreign companies, most of them from the West. This is not just paperwork. This is a direct challenge to decades of how business has been done in Africa, and it is happening alongside a broader movement that is rewriting the rules of power, resources, and sovereignty across the entire region. Guinea sits on some of the most valuable land in the world. It has the largest known reserves of bauxite on the planet, which is the raw material used to make aluminium. It also has vast deposits of gold, diamonds, and iron ore. By all logic, Guinea should be wealthy. Its people should have modern infrastructure, functioning hospitals, good schools, and economic opportunity. But that is not the reality. Instead, Guinea remains poor. The wealth has been extracted for decades by foreign corporations, while very little stayed behind to develop the country itself. The profits went elsewhere. The contracts were written in ways that heavily favored the companies, not the people. Colonel Doumbouya is not interested in continuing that system. When his government revoked those 46 mining licenses, it was not a random act. These were licenses held by companies that had done little or nothing with the land for years. Some had been sitting on these licenses for over a decade without building mines, creating jobs, or contributing meaningfully to the Guinean economy. They were holding the land for speculation, waiting for the right time to sell or develop, but offering nothing in return to the nation whose resources they controlled. Doumbouya called it economic sabotage. He said these companies were holding the country's resources hostage, and he made it clear that era is over. This decision becomes even more important when you understand the broader context. Guinea is not acting alone. Across West Africa, a new generation of leaders is rejecting the old colonial arrangements that have defined the region for more than a century. In Burkina Faso, Captain Ibrahim Traoré took power in late 2022 and immediately began dismantling French influence. He expelled French troops who had been stationed in the country for years. He shut down French-controlled media outlets. He started nationalizing the gold mining sector so that more of the profits would stay in Burkina Faso instead of flowing to foreign shareholders. He has become a symbol of resistance, and his actions have inspired others. Doumbouya and Traoré have met privately multiple times. These are not ceremonial meetings. They are strategic discussions about building a new kind of alliance, one based on shared sovereignty, economic independence, and mutual defense. They are talking about creating systems that allow African countries to trade with each other on their own terms, without needing approval from Western institutions like the International Monetary Fund or the World Bank. Mali and Niger have also followed similar paths. Both countries have kicked out French military forces. Both have begun renegotiating or cancelling contracts with foreign mining companies. Together, Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and now Guinea represent a growing force that is challenging the status quo in ways that have not been seen in decades. The West is watching this closely, and they are not happy. When African countries start taking control of their own resources, it disrupts long-established profit streams. Companies that had secure contracts suddenly find themselves shut out. The response has been predictable. Western media outlets have begun painting leaders like Doumbouya and Traoré as dictators, as threats to democracy, as unstable military rulers. This is the same playbook that was used against Thomas Sankara in Burkina Faso in the 1980s, against Patrice Lumumba in the Congo in the 1960s, and against countless other African leaders who dared to prioritize their own people over foreign interests. But something is different this time. The populations in these countries are not falling for it. In Burkina Faso, young people have taken to the streets not to protest Traoré, but to support him. They wave national flags, they chant for sovereignty, they celebrate the expulsion of French forces. The same energy is building in Guinea. People are tired of seeing their resources leave the country while they remain poor. They want change, and they see leaders like Doumbouya as finally willing to fight for it. Doumbouya is not just cancelling licenses. He is restructuring how mining will work in Guinea going forward. Any new mining deal now has to meet strict requirements. Companies must hire Guinean workers. They must invest in local infrastructure like roads, schools, and clinics in the areas where they operate. They must share revenue transparently with the government and local communities. These are not radical demands. They are basic principles of fairness and sovereignty. But in a system that has long been rigged in favor of foreign corporations, they represent a fundamental shift in power. There is also talk of moving away from the CFA franc, the currency used by many West African countries that is still controlled and backed by France. Both Doumbouya and Traoré have expressed support for creating a new regional currency that would be independent of French oversight. Imagine what that would mean. African nations trading minerals, oil, and agricultural products with each other using their own currency on their own terms, without needing approval from Paris or Brussels. That vision is no longer theoretical. It is being actively discussed and planned. Of course, challenging global powers comes with risks. There are already whispers of legal retaliation. Some companies are threatening to take Guinea to international arbitration courts. Others are lobbying their home governments to impose sanctions. There are reports that France is preparing a counter-influence operation using soft power, funding for NGOs, and media campaigns to try to shift public opinion back in their favor. But the momentum is with the reformers. Intelligence reports suggest that Burkina Faso has already offered military advisors and logistical support to Guinea. There are discussions underway about creating a joint defense strategy across the Sahel region. What is happening in Guinea is not an isolated event. It is part of a pattern. It is part of a broader awakening across Africa, where people are demanding control over their own futures. For too long, the narrative has been that Africa is helpless, that it needs foreign aid, that it cannot govern itself. That narrative is being challenged, loudly and effectively, by leaders and populations who refuse to accept it anymore. The stakes are enormous. If Guinea succeeds, if this alliance of Sahelian states holds together and builds real economic independence, it will serve as a model for the rest of the continent. Other countries will follow. But if they fail, if external pressure becomes too great, then the old order will reassert itself and the window for change may close for another generation. Right now, the ground is shifting. From the mining fields of Guinea to the gold mines of Burkina Faso, a new story is being written. It is a story about sovereignty, dignity, and the refusal to accept exploitation as inevitable. Colonel Doumbouya and Captain Traoré are not perfect leaders, but they are doing something that has not been done in a long time. They are putting African interests first, and they are willing to take on powerful enemies to do it. This is the kind of story that mainstream media will not tell you. This is the Africa that gets ignored because it does not fit the narrative of helplessness and failure. But it is real. It is happening right now, and it matters. If you want to see more stories like this, stories that show what is really happening across the continent without the filters and biases of Western media, subscribe to One Africa. Share this with someone who needs to understand what is possible when African nations take control of their own destiny. Drop a comment and let us know what you think about this movement. This is our story, and we are telling it ourselves.